Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Aishwarya, pediatric postgraduate from ICH, here to present my case under the topic Musical Cranium, a Hint to the Diagnosis, under the guidance of Dr. Povaragi Ma'am, Professor and Chief of PICU, ICH. 1 year old male child presented with complaints of cough and cold for 10 days, breathing difficulty for 3 days, and lethargy for 3 days. This child is a second born child to the second degree consanguineous parents. The previous sibling of the child had a history of developmental delay who died at the age of 2 years of age, cause of which was not known. Neuroimaging in the previous child, done at 11 months of age, revealed a hypomyelination. This child was conceived spontaneously. There was history of reduced fetal movements, and mother had a history of pregnancy-induced hypertension and was not on any medication. It was a full-term LSES, and there was an uneventful postnatal and neonatal period. In this child at 3 months of age, a mother noticed a history of stiffness and restriction of movements of bilateral upper limb and lower limb, which was progressively increasing, and mother also noticed developmental delay in the child. For 1 year of age, the under gross motor domain, child was not able to lift the head when put prone. The child was not able to grasp any objects. Child can only move syllable words. A social smile was attained at 3 months of age, and child was able to recognize the mother. Overall, there was a global developmental delay present. At emergency room, the primary assessment was airway was maintainable, breathing was apneic, back wall mask ventilation was started, circulation was, heart rate was 100 per minute, peripheral pulses were 2 plus 0, capillary refill time was more than 2 seconds, and child also had a hypotension. Child was brought unresponsive with a GCS of E1, V1, M1. Eyes were in mid position, no literature nystagmus, and bilateral pupils were equally reacting to light. Tone was abnormal. On presentation, capillary blood glucose was 115 milligram per deciliter with a temperature of 99° Fahrenheit. On deriving the physiological status, the child had a respiratory failure with hypotensive shock. For this, child was intubated at the emergency room. After a 20 ml per kg of normal saline bolus, an adrenaline infusion was started at zero point 0.1 mics per kg per minute, and child was then shifted to PICU. On receiving at PICU, the GCS of the child was E2 VTM3, and child was afebrile with a temperature of 98° Fahrenheit. Pallor was present. Anterior fontanelle was measuring to a 2 cross 2 centimeter, which was flushed with surface. Anterior chest wall deformity in the form of anterior protrusion of the chest wall was noted. Heart rate was 150 per minute with the blood pressure of 100 for 50, and pulse pressure was 50 mmHg. Saturation was 100% with O2. Capillary blood glucose then was 80 milligram per deciliter. Peripheral pulses were 3 plus 3 plus, and even the pulsations were visible. Liver span was 6 centimeter, and peripheries were warm. Anthropometric measurements revealed a moderate acute malnutrition in the child, and head circumference was measured to 47 centimeter, which fell between 50th through 97th percentile. The systemic examination, cardiovascular, respiratory, and per abdomen examination was normal. Central nervous system examination, there was no signs of meningeal irritation, no signs of raised ICT, and bilateral pupils were equally reacting to light. Under motor system examination, bilateral upper limb tone was reduced, and there were contractures present in bilateral lower limb. Power was 2/5 in upper limb and 0/5 in the lower limb. Deep tendon reflexes were present in all 4 limbs. Plantar was extensor in both the limbs. The initial CBC revealed a neutrophilic leukocytosis with anemia. Child was hence started on antibiotics, and a packed red cell transfusion was given. In view of wide pulse pressure, inotrope noradrenaline was also started. The initial lab investigation revealed a total count of 15,900, hemoglobin of 6.8, hematocrit of 22, with a platelet of 1.45 lakhs. Renal parameters were within the normal range. Liver enzymes were elevated, that is AST was 152 and ALT was 73. The initial CRP was positive with for 12 microgram per deciliter. The peripheral smear revealed a microcytic hypochromic anemia. Initial blood and urine cultures revealed no growth. ET aspirate taken later on grew Acinetobacter. Chest X-ray showed a mild cardiomegaly, for which a screening echo was done, which was normal. Provisional diagnosis then was a clinical sepsis with pneumonia, global developmental delay, and a moderate acute malnutrition. This child continued to have a wide pulse pressure and tachycardia, despite the initial cultures growing no growth and a repeat hemoglobin with of 9.5 after a packed red cell transfusion. The child required decongestion with diuretics even when the child was put on restricted fluid. This is when alternative diagnosis for wide pulse pressure was thought about, and an echocardiogram was done, cardiology echo was done, which was again normal, and a CT chest was done in view of any AV malformation, which was again turned out to be normal. Then when we re-looked the child clinically, child was found to have a cranial bruit. So a CT brain contrast study was ordered, which ultimately led us to the diagnosis. This was the CT brain contrast of the child, which showed an aneurysmal dilatation of the vein of Galen. So this led us to arrive at the diagnosis of vein of Galen malformation in this child. Vein of Galen is a precursor of median prosencephalic vein of Markowski. So this vein of Galen is also known as great cerebral vein, which is formed by the union of two internal cerebral vein and basal vein of Rosenthal. And this the vein of Galen is a short valveless vein, and the course of this vein is like the great cerebral vein joins with the inferior sagittal vein, and it will form the straight sinus. The straight sinus along with the superior sagittal sinus will meet at the confluence to form the transverse sinus. Transverse sinus continues as a sigmoid sinus, and sigmoid sinus ultimately drains into the internal jugular vein, which enters into the right side of the heart. The great cerebral vein has drainage area from the cerebellum, interpeduncular fossa, inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, and other choroid plexus of the third and the lateral ventricle. Vein of Galen malformation is a tangled mass of abnormal connection between the artery and the vein. That is, a capillaries that has to shunt the blood vessel from the arterial to the venous end is absent. So the high pressure in the blood continues to exist in the venous system as in the arterial system. And this vein of Galen is said to be the most common type of AV system malformation in neonatal and infantile age group, with a male is to female preponderance of 3:1. Although most of it has a genetic etiology, sometimes a somatic mutation in the neural crest and adjacent cephalic mesoderm in the early embryonic period, that is between the 6th to 11th intrauterine week, is said to be one of the cause for vein of Galen malformation. These are some clinical presentations of vein of Galen malformation. In newborn, it usually presents as a congestive cardiac failure and hydrocephalus. The pathophysiology behind congestive cardiac failure is the high pressure that is present in the venous system, that because of the improper shunting due to absence of capillaries, this high pressure blood enters the right side of the heart with the same high pressure, causing increased preload, thereby causing a congestive cardiac failure. For the same reason, because of the increased venous tension in the brain, it causes impaired drainage of the cerebrospinal fluid, causing its accumulation, thereby producing hydrocephalus. In older infants, developmental delay is more common compared to hydrocephalus. Again, developmental delay is because of impairment in the neuronal development due to the increased venous tension inside the brain. In early childhood, the other manifestations include headache, convulsive seizures, hydrocephalus, heart failure, and developmental delay. In almost 72% of children with vein of Galen malformation, there is favorable outcome, with mortality being reported in 15% of children. Diagnosis of vein of Galen malformation in any newborn with an unexplained respiratory distress or signs of heart failure with a structurally normal heart, vein of Galen malformation has to be thought about. And the vein of Galen can be picked up in an antenatal ultrasound, transcranial ultrasound, CT brain, MRI brain, MR and CT angiography, and investigation of choice still lies as a cerebral angiogram. Apart from all surgical management, there are conservative management for vein of Galen, including anti-epileptics, shunts to manage hydrocephalus, and anti-failure medication. Among the surgical management, endovascular embolization can be done. Embolization is done with the help of a glue or a clips using N-butyl cyanoacrylate, and embolization is done in the arterial end, and this procedure has got a 68% favorable outcome. The definitive surgical procedure is staged surgical clipping or obliteration of the aneurysm feeders. This is a statistics of vein of Galen malformation in ICH between the period of 2015 to 2020. Totally 3 newborn children, 2 infants, and 6 older children, total amounting to a case of 11, have been reported to have vein of Galen malformation in ICH, and there were 2 deaths reported in newborn. For this case, neurosurgery and vascular surgery opinion was sought regarding embolization. Meanwhile, due to prolonged mechanical ventilator requirements, tracheostomy was done. Child's general condition slowly deteriorated and child expired due to sepsis and multi-organ failure. Here, we would like to emphasize the precedence of clinical examination over other modalities of investigations. Whenever there is an unexplained wide pulse pressure despite normal cardiac status, we have to search for the bruit, which would be an eye opener for the major diagnosis, as in our case. Thank you.